Hey guys, welcome back to Magic TV. My name's Craig. It is Friday. It's 9 o'clock, which means it's time for another video. And today, I'm going to be doing a follow-up to one of the most popular videos that I've ever done on Magic TV. About 6 months ago, I did a video on everyday carry. I talked about the 12 best everyday carry items that you can carry around with you when you're not at gigs, when you're just out and about. And it was very well received. A lot of people had said they hadn't heard of some of the things that I talked about. If you haven't seen that video, you can check it out. There'll be a link in the description down below. However, this is a follow-up because I said in that video, there is a ton of stuff that works as part of an everyday carry. So this is a follow-up video. It's another 10 things. You always know that I can take things seriously when I've got a list. It's another 10 tricks that you can buy that are absolutely perfect to include as your everyday carry. Now, a few things that I need to clarify. First of all, there's some older items on this list, and there's also some newer items on this list. Also, this is not going to be the only list. I will do a follow-up to this one as well. There are literally hundreds of things, when you think about it, you can include in your everyday carry. The most important thing is for you guys to understand what I kind of think of as everyday carry. So, when I think of everyday carry, I personally think of routines or tricks that look like they organically could be with you when you aren't in a gigging situation. Allow me to clarify. When I'm at a gig, I am more than happy to carry around weird and wonderful stuff. I'm more than happy to carry around things that chop cups and you know, weird items and whatever they may be, and silver American dollars. I've got no problem because people know that I'm a magician. People know that I'm booked there to do magic, so it would make sense that I'm carrying something that's a little bit weird, right? When I'm doing when I'm out and about and I'm not at a gig, I don't want to be carrying around a chop cup with me. I want it to look like it's almost impromptu. I want people to, you know, somebody says to me, hey, can you do me a trick? And I'm like, well, yeah, I suppose so. Let me show you something with this. So it feels like it's the sort of thing that I would have with me anyway. So you're never going to see a card trick on any of my lists when it comes to everyday carry, because your average person wouldn't carry around a deck of cards. Now, you could argue that a magician would carry around a deck of cards, and that's a good argument. And as a magician, I do carry around a deck of cards. But I want the stuff that I perform when I'm not in a gigging situation to be tricks that don't look like they're a trick, like I'm just doing something with something that I have on me, if that kind of makes sense. Now, I think it's very important to be able to do that, because my big pet hate in magic is those magicians that get caught out and about and somebody goes, oh, you're a magician, do me a trick, and they go, oh, I haven't got anything on me. And I hate it when I see I haven't got anything on me, because then you're basically saying that the magic is in your props and not in you, and you can't perform unless you've got your special bits and pieces and your special gizmos with you. So I always like to have a huge amount of tricks that I can do if I'm caught out and about. Hey, show me a trick. Okay, let me do something with this. But again, it needs to feel like it's very impromptu. So again, gossip is a perfect example. A lot of you guys know my trick gossip, which is a page that's been torn out of a gossip magazine that's folded up and put in my wallet. That's a perfect example, because I can say, well, yeah, you know, people ask me all the time to do a trick. I've got this folded up piece of paper here. It's from one of my wife's magazine. I haven't got more than one wife. It's from my wife's magazine. Do you want to see a trick with it? And that's a perfect example, which is why I included it in my first list of tricks that are perfect to be part of your everyday carry. Now, your definition of an everyday carry and my definition might be completely different, and that's absolutely fine. And you might not have a problem having packet tricks in your wallet or something like that. And and that's cool. That's brilliant. For me, I like to make it so that if I'm making a list of stuff that I would include in my everyday carry, it's stuff that would organically be with me when I'm out and about and not at a gig. And there's a few different places where you can have everyday carry items. So sometimes an everyday carry item might be on your keychain. So on the first video I did on this subject, I included the Pro Mystic mini Rubik's Cube, which is an absolute perfect example of of an everyday carry item because it's just there on your keychain. Keymaster is another example. It's just hanging there on your keychain. It's ready to go when you need it. Then you've got stuff that would fit inside your wallet. So again, off the first video, I talked about extreme burn. That's perfect because it looks like you're just taking some receipts out of your wallet. Another example of something that you could carry around that looks like it organically would be in your wallet is, again, gossip. Gossip is a perfect example. And then you can have stuff that's kind of on your phone. So some apps, I talked about some apps in the first video that I love carrying around with me because you've always got your phone on you. And as long as you've got your phone on you, it means that you've got the app. And if you've got the app, it means you can do the trick at the spur of a moment, right? And then you might have something that would logically be with you if you're out and about. So, for example, a pen, not a Sharpie, a pen. A lot of people will carry a pen with them. Not many people carry Sharpies unless they're magicians. So that's my criteria, and that's just me. And I'm going to break down 10 tricks in this video that are perfect as part of your everyday carry. And these are all items that are available. You can buy immediately. So without further ado, let's get straight into this with trick number 1. So the first trick that I'm going to be talking about you can get from PropDog, and this is called Ring Flight Revolution. Now, Ring Flight Revolution is, for my money, the absolute best ring flight on the market. There's lots of different ring flights on the market. You've got, recently you've had stuff come out like Flight by Illusionist, and you've got, that thing that thing by Julio Montoro. I can't remember, that was not very good. But there's a load of ring flights. For my money, in my opinion, and this is only my opinion, Dave Bunsel's Ring Flight Revolution is the absolute best ring flight on the market. And he has 2 different versions. He has a more expensive version, which he's been making forever, and he has like a smaller version, which is perfect if you're on a budget. Now, if you don't know what a ring flight is, the idea is very simple. You borrow a ring, you put the ring into your hand, you make the ring disappear. You then say to them, well, I can't bring your ring back, but I can give you something worth the cost of the rings. You then, worth the cost of the ring, and you say, I'll let you get the key to my car. You can drive away with it. And when you take out your keychain, hanging there on the keychain is their ring, and they can take it off themselves. That is basically what a ring flight is. Now, there's lots of different ways of doing this. You look at something like Pro Flight by Nick Einhorn, which is great. That's the sort of thing where there's no reel in place. You have to use that within the construction of a routine. So with Nick's item, you might do a false transfer, or you might do a ring and string routine, and it might end up in palm. And then as you go and get your keys, you put it onto the keychain so that it's there displayed, and that's really nice. I prefer, if I'm doing it as a one-off thing, to use a reel. And the problem with reels, up until when Dave Bunsel came on the scene, the problem with reels is a lot of them were very substandard. The little old-fashioned ring flights looked like nothing on God's green earth, and the reel would snap or wouldn't work, and it was very noisy and very loud. PropDog's Ring Flight Revolutions are great because they are completely silent. They're really easy to set up. You can get into it at a moment's notice. And when you take the Ring Flight Revolution out and you display it, and you're holding it here, they can literally pull on the ring. It's locked in place, and they can take it off themselves. And when you think about it, what's more magical than that? Give me your ring. I'm going to hold it here. There's nothing in this hand. Look, the ring is gone. It has disappeared completely. Empty hands. You reach into your back pocket. You bring out the keychain, and it's there hanging on the keychain. It's incredible when you think about it. Now, I've spoken to people in the past, and they've said the reason they shy away from ring flights is because they're worried that it might break the ring, because obviously when you're dealing with a gimmick with a reel, it's going to snap back into position very quickly. All I can tell you is I've done Ring Flight Revolution for years, and I have never had a problem with that. And part of it is picking the right ring. I will never pick a ring that's got stones in it, ever. I'm just never going to do that, because you never know how long that person's had the ring. The stones might be loose in it already. You don't know that. I normally will pick just a plain wedding band. And if somebody hasn't got a plain wedding band, I'll do a completely different trick instead. And that's just good advice when borrowing a ring in general. Because what you don't want to do is borrow a ring, whether you're using it on a ring flight or using it in any other routine, and then you give them back and a stone's missing. So I don't borrow rings with stones. Outside of that, I'm absolutely fine. But this is great as an everyday carry, because the way that the Ring Flight Revolution is set up is it looks like it's a normal bunch of keys, and you can put your own keys onto there as well. So if you've got Keymaster set up to be your house keys and you want to put that on there, and you've got your little RD cube, which I talked about in the first video, and you're putting that on there, that's absolutely fine. You can put other stuff on the Ring Flight Revolution, but then you've got access to this thing that's in your back pocket, and you're good to go anytime, anywhere. If somebody says, hey, you're a magician, can you show me a trick? Yeah, I haven't really got anything on me, but can I borrow a ring? Would that be okay? Yeah, brilliant. Watch this ring. I'm going to make it disappear. Thanks very much. See you later. Oh, you want your ring back? Okay, look, nothing in my hands. Watch this. I'm going to reach behind my pocket and I'm going to get, oh, wow. I mean, it gets killer reactions. It's an amazing opener. It's something that I use in a gig anyway. But when you consider that it's also brilliant as an everyday carry item, it's great. And honestly, I'm not just saying this because I'm a fan of Prop Dog, but if you are going to get a ring flight, the only option, in my opinion, is to go for Prop Dog's Ring Flight Revolution. It is the best one on the market. Okay, so number 2, we have the Mini Super Sharpie. The Mini Super Sharpie by Magic Smith. Now, this is amazing. I love the Mini Super Sharpie. I love the Super Sharpie, but the Mini Super Sharpie is great because it allows me to do miracles at a moment's notice. And what the Miracle Super Sharpie is it's basically a way of being able to do a thumb writer without actually needing to carry a boon writer or a thumb writer around with you. So, and this has flown under the radar of a lot of magicians. It's been around for years, but a lot of people don't know about it for some reason. So what a Super Sharpie is, imagine for a second a double cross. So everybody knows the double cross gimmick, right? Where you've got a piece of putty at the end of the Sharpie, which you can steal onto your thumb. That allows you to get the impression on the spectator's hand, and then you can put it back into the Sharpie, right? Now imagine that, but instead of a little cross gimmick, it's basically a thumb tip writer that writes with Sharpie ink. And that's what you have. So you have a mini Sharpie, which hangs on your keychain and takes up no space. These mini Sharpies are designed to hang on your keychain, and you can just snap it off very, very easily. So you bring out your keys, you've got a mini Sharpie on there, you take the mini Sharpie off, and let's say you're out and about and somebody said do a trick, and you go, well, I've got a Sharpie here, pass me one of those napkins, you know, or pass me, let's say you're in an office, pass me that Post-it notepad. Or wherever you may be, you just need a piece of paper, or you need a piece of card, which is easy depending on the environment you're in. I a lot of the time, I'll use Post-it notepads, or I'll use napkins, or whatever it may be. Or I'll have a business card on me and I'll use a business card. It doesn't really matter. And you take your Super Sharpie, and you apparently write something down on this thing. And then you put the Sharpie down to one side, and you hold this here, and you say, now name a playing card, or name a number from 1 to 99, any 2-digit number, 36. Are you sure you want 36? Boom, look at that, I wrote 36, and it's written in Sharpie ink. And then you can give it them, and you just pick up the Sharpie, snap it back onto your keychain, and you're good to go. And because it's a mini Sharpie, it's stuck on your keychain. Now look at all the advantages of this over a normal thumb tip writer, because with a normal thumb tip writer, you have to have it all set up in your pocket, you have to reach it and get it out, or you have to get it underneath the nail. It writes normally in pencil or something like this, while with this, it writes in ink. It writes in Sharpie ink. It's sort of refilling because of where it lives, and you have a reason to have the Sharpie taken off your keychain as well. So you just take off the keychain, you take off the Sharpie, you write something. Now think about that trick that I reviewed recently, the fucking card trick, which I reviewed on Wednesday's show by Jota. And I talked about how it's just not needed because you can do the same thing with a thumb tip writer. Well, imagine this. Imagine not even having a deck of cards. Imagine doing the same thing that Jota's doing, but just with a borrowed napkin. You just take a napkin, and you say, look, I'm going to write something down on here, okay? I've got it written now. I've predicted it. I've made my mind up. Can you just name any card? Oh, you want the 3 of diamonds. Are you sure? Would you like to change your mind? You're happy with the 3 of diamonds? You are. Remember I said I wrote something on here? Look, I wrote 3 of diamonds. There you go. You can keep that as a souvenir. What's more perfect as an everyday carry item? But it's not just limited to cards. You can do cards, you can do star signs, you can do numbers. This is also something that I take with me to gigs. And even though I take it with me to gigs, it is an integral part of my everyday carry because it fits the bill perfectly. Everybody knows that those mini Sharpies are designed to go onto keychains. This one goes onto a keychain as well, and I can snap it off and I can go into it at a moment's notice, and immediately it instantly resets itself. And all I need is my keys and I'm good to go, and I can borrow a piece of card from people. I always typically have business cards with me anyway in my wallet, because in case anybody wants my business details, I always pretty much have business cards with me anyway, so I'll use business cards. But the point is, you don't have to. And I don't see many people doing the Super Sharpie, and it's such a shame. And I'm not talking about the big Super Sharpie, I'm talking the mini version, because there's so much you can do with thumb tip writers, and there's so many different routines that you can do. And this is a perfect example of something where the ideas and the opportunities for routines are limitless. It's great. So yeah, it's from Magic Smith. It's available from all good magic dealers. It's called the Mini Super Sharpie. It's the second item on our list of 10 everyday carry items that you need to make sure that you've got with you at all times. The third item that I'm going to be talking about is a bit of a weird one, because it wasn't marketed as an everyday carry item. It was marketed as a stage item, but it is perfect, absolutely perfect as an everyday carry item. And I am, of course, talking about Random Happenings by Ryan Schlutz. I always get that wrong. By Ryan. Now, this was brought out by Abstract Effects. It was one of the good Abstract Effects that came out. And what it is, basically, is it's an incredible book test where you have a book and you bring a spectator up on stage, and me and Rylan reviewed it. You can see a performance of it, but you rip the book into bits, and you get the spectator to help you rip the book into bits, and then you end up taking one of the pages out of this book out, and you rip it, and you get them to rip it again, and they rip it again, and they rip it again, and they take one of the pieces, and they look at a word on there, and then when they look at the word on there, you show that you've had a prediction the whole time, and you've predicted the word that they were going to think of. It's marketed as a stage item, but I'm telling you right now, this is one of the best everyday carry items that you can have with you that you will ever use. Let me explain why. So how the method works, and I don't want to give too much about this, but how the method works is it's a special book, right, where every page is pretty much the same. So when they're ripping this book up, it doesn't matter which page they get, because the pages are all created in the same way. And when they rip up one of those pages, because of the genius methodology behind this, they're only going to end up with one of two words. They're only ever going to end up with one of two words that they can think of. And so you have this really nice multiple out system, which is a folded up piece of paper that's here the whole time. And when they say the word out loud, you open up the piece of paper and you show that you predicted exactly the word that the spectator would think of. Now, I'm not doing this in my stage show. However, it is a huge part of my everyday carry ever since I reviewed it, because I didn't like the idea of ripping up a book on stage. However, what I do love is taking a torn page out of a book from my wallet and doing something with it. And that's what you have here. So all I do is I take one of the pages from Random Happenings, and you get tons of pages. This will last you forever. You take one of the pages from Random Happenings, you just fold it up a few times and you put it in your wallet. And as well as having that in your wallet, you also have your prediction. And the prediction takes up no space. It's just a folded up piece of paper that you put in your wallet as well. Now you're set to do this at a moment's notice. Now, this technically deviates slightly from my requirements when it comes to an everyday carry item, because I said I want to use stuff that logically would be with me if I was out and about. However, this kind of feels a bit like gossip. You probably wouldn't have a torn out page out of a magazine. You probably wouldn't have a torn out page out of a book, but I can justify that very, very easily, and it takes up no space in the wallet. I can say, well, I don't really have anything on me, but I have got this page out of this book. A few days ago, I was reading this book, and I had a really weird feeling that I was going to meet somebody, and I tore this particular page out of this book, and I think it was you that I was thinking about. Will you help me? Brilliant. Okay, take this page. What I want you to do, we're going to go crazy. We're going to rip it in half. Can you rip it in half for me? Brilliant. Now rip it again. Now rip it again. Now rip it. And I go into the routine. And when I take the page out, I say, oh, I've also got this. Can you hold on to that? Don't open it. That's what I think is going to happen. And then you go into the whole routine, and you end up in a situation where you've predicted the word that they're thinking of. I don't see anyone else doing this but me, and I think it's a great use of random happenings. I really do. And because it was marketed as a stage item, you've got so many refills. You've got so many refills with it, so it's going to last you a lifetime. It's going to last you a long time. So when I do this, I did this just the other day. I was in a restaurant with Sarah, and this woman came over to me, and she said, "Are you a magician?" Because I was shuffling a pack of cards, and she said, "Yeah." And I said, "Would you like to see something?" And she said, "Yes." And I did this trick, and it just floored her completely. So there you go. If you know random happenings, it's a great, it has great applications as an everyday carry item, and you can get this from all good magic dealers. There you go. That's number 3. Let's move on to number 4. So in 4th place, we have Cognito by my friend Lloyd Barnes. Now, I'm not going to spend too much time talking about Cognito. I have talked about it to death on this channel. I have talked about how it's one of the best tricks of 2021. I was speaking to Christian Grace about this the other day because Christian loves this as well. And when I was in Prop Dog with Ryland, me and Ryland went to London a week ago. And when me and Ryland were in London, we went to Prop Dog, and Christian was there. And there was a guy that came in that wanted some magic, and he was like, "Oh, I do street magic. I'm looking for something different." And I said, "Do you know Cognito?" And he said, "No." And I was like, "Well, let me show it you." And I performed Cognito for them, for this guy, and he absolutely lost his mind. And it gets that reaction every single time. Now, I know there's some people out there that don't like Cognito, and the people that don't, I can't understand why, because the reaction it gets is insane. Now, I've played around with lots of different uses of Cognito. I've settled on the Chaos Reveal using the proximity sensor. If you want to know how I use it, I use the Chaos Reveal with the proximity sensor. I've got a nice routine that makes sense, that justifies them holding it to their chest. It's all to do with observation, and I love it because it allows me to get a peek of their card. They haven't written it down. They haven't said anything. I get the peek of the card, and I tell them the card, and then when they look back at the image, that card, they just see it, and it really freaks them out. And the other thing that Christian talked about with me, which is absolutely true, is if you've got an index with you, and now we're going beyond everyday carry, but if you've got an index with you of 52 cards, you can load that card underneath the drink on the table, or you can load it in their pocket and do some pocketing. You can load it anywhere, and they've got a card that they freely thought of that they never told anybody, and now it's just appeared under their drink or in their pocket or whatever it may be. It's a killer routine. Cognito is amazing. When you think about it, if you've got your phone on you, you're good to go. You know, James Samuels, my friend James Samuels, we did a show together. He very kindly invited me to compare one of his shows along with Richard Young, Brendan Rodriguez, and a whole bunch of people. And when I got there very early to set up, and the stage manager was there, and he said, "I'll do a trick then." And I did Cognito, and just asked James what the reaction from this guy was. He absolutely lost his mind. And the reason he lost his mind is because when you see that revelation in front of you, it just knocks you for 6. Cognito is amazing. It's one of those tricks that I do in gigs, but it's my go-to trick, or one of my go-to tricks when you catch me out and about, because I've always got my phone on me, and as long as I've got my phone, I'm good to go. In 5th place, we have Playlist. I can now talk about Playlist because it's now officially released. It got released on Wednesday. So on Wednesday, Playlist got released, and Playlist is my latest trick from Alakazam. And I don't want to make this list about me, and I don't want to make it about my tricks, but I really have to include this for a couple of different reasons. One, for the last 6 to 12 months, this has been part of my everyday carry. And number 2, it's part of their wallet series. Alakazam are the only company that I know of that are doing a wallet series, a series of tricks specifically designed to fit inside your wallet. And, you know, the Playlist is perfect for that. If you don't know what it is, it's basically a set of music download cards. Now, these are designed to look like they're the sort of cards that you find in coffee shops and Starbucks, where when you get to the till, you can pick one of them up and it allows you to download a track. So each one of them has got like a picture of the album cover, and it's got information about the track, and they look so legitimate. It looks like you would keep it in your wallet, like you'd be at a service station, you just pick one up and put it in your wallet. But we supply you with a whole bunch of these, and it allows you to do a 15-minute act straight out of your wallet. Like literally a 15-minute act. And if you do everything all together, it is 15 minutes. Or you can break it down and just do one routine and then another routine and another routine, another routine. So you can just pick what you want to use playlist for. I use this at gigs. That's how strong this is. I have literally, when I was first workshopping this together, I would go out to a gig and I would force myself to just do this over and over again. So I'd take nothing with me other than playlist in my wallet, and I would go out and I'd do it, and then I'd do it again, and the reactions it gets are insane. I've talked before about how I love routines that work in a gigging situation, but they work as well in sort of an everyday carry situation, and that's what playlist is all about. Now, depending on how much time I've got, I can either do the whole thing or I can just do one routine. So I could just, for example, and I love the hook, by the way, just deviating for a minute. I love the hook because you talk about who here likes music, who here likes, downloading music. Have you ever seen these music download cards? I pick them up from service stations. I've got a whole bunch of them here. Let's see if we can do something. And then you bring them out, and then you can do whatever routines you want to do. The one routine in particular that I love is you put a prediction down from the very, very beginning, and you have somebody shuffle up 5 of these music download cards. You don't look at them at all. They shuffle them up. They lay them out in whatever order they want to. They pick one of them. It's their choice. There is no force. And then when you turn, you've got that classic barcode gag. So you know the barcode gag where you say, think of anything from a supermarket. Look, if you scan this barcode, it'll be correct. It's like that, but it's a QR code. So you go, right, think of any one of these. That one, okay, we're not even going to look at it. You want that one. Brilliant. If I told you I predicted it, would that be good? And they go, yeah. And you turn it over and it's a barcode. And they laugh and it's funny, and anyone who's done the barcode gag will know that it's funny. And you go, seriously, you scan that QR code, that'll take you to the track that you're thinking of. You then take the barcode, you then take their phone, you ask them to open it, you scan the QR code, you open up the link, and when you open up the link, you turn it round, it's playing, for example, Yellow Submarine's Beatles, and when they look at their freely chosen card, that QR code is taken to Yellow Submarine Beatles, and it's an instant match, and everything's examinable, and that's just one of the routines with it. There's a killer wild card where you have somebody freely think of one of the tracks. You know, you've got a whole bunch of different songs, they freely think of one of them, and then you lay them all out on the table, and you one at a time change the cards into the track they've thought of. So there's a lot going on here. There's a mixture of magic, there's a mixture of mentalism, and like I say, I don't want this to become a advert for my product, but I'm so proud of Playlist, and it was meant to come out before Christmas, but we're bringing it out now, and I think it's probably the best trick I've ever released. I'm not talking project, because I really love my projects like the Stebbins project and Visible, but I think it's the best trick I've ever released. I think it's better than Gossip, and Gossip was really well received. And because there's a lot more to it. It is more like a project than a one-off trick. Gossip was a one-off trick, and as much as I love Gossip, this is like 7 or 8 routines that you can either do individually or create an entire act out of. So there you go. I have to put Playlist in there. So Playlist is going in there. That's your next trick that you need to include in your everyday carry immediately. It's only available from Alakazam Magic. So if you want it, you can pick it up right now. Right, as we're on the subject of Alakazam, let's talk about Will to Read by my friend Steve Della. Will to Read, absolutely 100% definitely needs to be included in this list. What is Will to Read? Well, Will to Read is Steve's version of Free Will. And if you don't know what free will is something that's been around for a very, very long time. And, you've got 3, for example, it used to be wooden tokens. And you've got 3 wooden tokens, and your back's turned, and they freely choose where they put these tokens, and they have a free choice. And then when you turn round, the prediction that you've given out at the beginning predicts everything that the spectator did. Well, what Steve has done is he's taken the free will concept and brought it bang up to date with Will to Read. It's basically a page out of a book. And you give this page out of the book to the spectator to hold on to. You give and it uses the stuff that they carry around with them anyway. So it's very, very organic, really, when you think about it. And they make all of the decisions seemingly, and then you get them to look at the page out of the book, and the prediction matches exactly. If you like free will, then this is something you absolutely want to check out, because Steve has made it an everyday carry. When free will first came out, it wasn't an everyday carry. You had to have a little pouch with you. You had to have special little chips with you in order to do this whole thing. But this is perfect. You just have a piece of paper that you take out of your, you have a torn up page out of a book, a bit like the random happenings thing I mentioned to you. You take that out of your wallet, you borrow a few items from the spectators, and you're good to go straight into this. And it really is a very strong routine that feels very organic and very impromptu, whilst in reality, you're set up for this well in advance. The other thing with Will to Read is there's lots of other bonus routines included in the project as well. The project, which just recently been re-released as part of the wallet range with Alakazam, and the download, the instructions with Steve and Peter are very well done, and they go through everything with a fine-tooth comb. So if you're looking for a really strong piece of mentalism that will absolutely knock your audiences for six, you want to check out Will to Read by Steve Della. Okay, next we're going to be talking about Illusionist. Now, Illusionist, I've got a very love-hate relationship with Illusionist, but you can't deny the fact that over the years they've brought some really killer routines out. And Will to Read is one example, not Will to Read, sorry, Fraud is one example that Illusionist brought out from the creative minds of Geraint Clark, Adam Wilber, and Lloyd Barnes. They brought this thing out as part of their How to Read Minds Kickstarter campaign. So they brought out a Kickstarter, a whole set on how to read minds, and this was included in that set, but now it's available as a standalone trick as well. Fraud by Illusionist. So what is it? It is basically a credit card, and this credit card, and it's Pete Turner, as well. Sorry, Pete Turner. I'm getting the names wrong. I'm so sorry, Pete. Pete Turner's like the main guy on the project, to be perfectly honest. I don't think Adam Wilber was on there. It's been a long time since I've seen it. The point is, definitely Pete Turner. The point is, you've got this credit card that has got a whole bunch of mentalism applications built into it. And every single part of this credit card has got different applications built into it. And normally when you look at a credit card and you look at a gimmick credit card, it's very easy. I've seen ones in the past where it's like got Bank of Denmark and there's a little like grey elephant in there, and there's like a circle with a triangle in the middle or whatever. And it's just like all people have thought of is, let's put a credit card together, shove as many reveals in there as we can, job done. What this does is it's a lot. First of all, it looks like a credit card in every way. It looks just like a credit card that you would put out of your wallet. But as well as looking like a credit card that you would put out your wallet, the other thing about this, which is really important, is that the reveals that are built into here are really clever. So like, for example, in the 16-digit number, Pete built into the 16-digit number a binary system, which is so incredibly clever. It really is. And everything ties together really nicely. I don't want to give too much away because it's something you really should consider getting. But ultimately, what you have here is one single credit card that you can put into your wallet. And as soon as it's in your wallet, you're ready to go at a moment's notice to be able to perform probably a 10 to 12 minute mentalism act using just your credit card in front of you. For that reason and that reason alone, this is something that absolutely everyone should pick up. If you're looking for something that's organically looks like it should be in a wallet, what's more organic than a credit card? And illusionists do miss the mark sometimes, but with this they absolutely hit, and they hit hard. Just if you do that one routine with the 16-digit number and the binary system in it, just if you do that one routine, it's worth the price alone. But there's a whole bunch of other stuff built into it as well. And because Pete Turner is on the project, it's very well explained and everything is thought out and everything is gone over to the nth degree. So there you go. That is Fraud by Illusionist. Okay, so next up is a trick that came out in 2021, and I actually said it was one of the best tricks that came out in 2021, and I'm talking about Perfect Pen by John Cornelius. It has just been re-released by Murphy's Magic. Now, Perfect Pen, for me, is the ultimate pen through anything. Pen through anything, if you've never done it before, it is a super great trick, because it really kind of gets people, right? You know, you borrow a bill, you take a pen, they write something, they slam the pen through the bill. You can show it both sides, you pull it out, and immediately, with no switches, everything's examinable. And that's the key thing about the Perfect Pen. It's examinable beforehand. They can write with it. It's examinable afterwards. They can write with it. And the principle behind it is so clever. And I'm so glad that Murphy's re-released it. Now, the nice thing is it works with polymer notes. So if you're in the UK or Australia or places like that, it's not a problem. It works with all types of banknotes, but you can do it with anything. You can do it with a piece of paper. If you're in an office, you can borrow a Post-it note and do it with a Post-it note. And it really is one of those routines that's very iconic. You know, it's super visual. It's the sort of thing you'd see a TV magician do, because it really looks as good as I'm explaining it. You show a note, you put the pen through, you pull it out, everything's examinable. And yeah, I mean, if you're wanting to put a pen through a note, there is no better way of doing this. There is no better way of doing this. And because the pen is not a Sharpie and it looks like a pen, it's very plausible that you'd carry that around in your pocket. You know, most people carry a pen around in your pocket. This looks like a nice pen that you'd carry around with you, and yet you're ready to do it anytime, anywhere, and it's immediately reset, and it's examinable. You don't need a table. You can put it through absolutely anything you want to, and it feels like a very organic trick because, hey, show me something. Okay, I've got a pen. Have you got something I can borrow, like a receipt or maybe a note or a bill or something like that, or what have you got? Oh yeah, that receipt will work. Look, let me show you something with this receipt. Boom, job done. Yeah, it's great. Absolutely love it. It's a super strong version of pen through note, and it's well worth picking up. I actually said it was one of the best tricks of 2021. Okay, so next up we have Thy Will Be Done, and I ummed and ahed about whether to include Thy Will Be Done on this list or not, because it's very similar to Will to Read. But then I decided, yes, I'm going to include this as well. So Thy Will Be Done is basically a way of doing free will. Like Will to Read, it's a way of doing free will, but it's a way of doing free will with a tarot card. Now, you get 2 tarot cards with it when you get it from the 1914. You get a big normal-sized tarot card, and you get a smaller-sized tarot card that will fit into a wallet perfectly. So all you have to do is put this one tarot card into your wallet, and when it's in there, you are ready to go at a moment's notice to do this free will-style routine. But because of the prop, because it's a tarot card, it really allows you to go in a completely different direction when it comes to presentation to Steve Della's routine, Will to Read. So even though both of them are really great, I think that you could do both of them pretty much to the same audience, and they'd think it was a completely different trick with a completely different methodology. It just happens that both Alexander Marsh and Steve Della, who are 2 very creative mentalists, have approached the same concept in a very different way. What I do like about the Thy Will Be Done is it also includes a bonus time prediction, because you're using your watch, you're using a borrowed spectator's watch as part of this, and you can actually have a time prediction built into there as well. But yeah, I mean, it's kind of weird, because it's kind of like, it's not like, oh, I've got this pen, let me show you something. It's like, well, I've got a tarot card. But as it fits into your wallet, you know, it's very easy to justify. Yeah, I can you show me something? Yeah, I've got this tarot card here. I put this into my wallet a little while ago because it allows me to show you something really cool. Would you like to see? You would? Okay, I'm going to put the tarot card right there. We're going to get back to that in a minute. And then you're into the routine. So yeah, I mean, you could have Thy Will Be Done and Will to Read in the same wallet. It'll take up almost no space, and then you're good to go in either direction, depending on the audience you're performing for. One type of audience might prefer Will to Read, another type of audience might prefer Thy Will Be Done. It's nice to have options, and both of them fit into a wallet and take up no space. Okay, so the next routine that we're going to be looking at is, again, a new item that's just come out. And I've talked about this before. This is one of the best downloads I've seen in the last year or two. It's called The Mystery of the 10 Coins. Now, it's come out through the vault, through Murphy's Magic. Myself and Ryland have filmed this for a review show. I don't know if the review's gone live yet or not. It might have, I'm not too sure. And myself and Lloyd talked about this on the Magic podcast recently. It's incredible. Basically, what you have here is you have a routine where you have 10 coins and you just drop them down on the table. And they can be borrowed coins, which is really nice. So you can get 10 coins. You can say, have you got a couple of, yeah, they have to be the same coin, really. Not necessarily, but I think it's better if they are. So if you're with a group of people, you can say, hey, I need 10 coins that are all the same here. Has anyone got some 10p's? Oh, you got 2, I've got 2. Have you got, oh, you got 3, brilliant. Have you got 1? Oh yeah, great, let's do this. And then the whole idea is that you don't do anything. They throw the coins down on the table, your back's turned, they take 5 of the coins and they cover them up. You then take somebody else and get them to throw the coins down on the table. And they match. So if there's like 3 tails and 2 heads here, there's 3 tails and 2 heads there. It's incredible. It is one of the best impromptu tricks I've ever seen. And you don't need to carry anything around with this. Technically, you could have 10 coins with you. So you can make sure if you want to do this regularly and you're worried you might not be able to borrow the coins, you can have like 10 pences with you and make sure that you keep those 10 pences with you so you can do this anytime, anywhere. But technically, you can borrow the coins to do this. And if you do borrow the coins, it's completely impromptu. And it's a great lead into mentalism. So if you're going to be doing maybe some impromptu mentalism using, you know, what have I got on this list? Maybe you're going to be doing Thy Will Be Done. Maybe you're going to be doing Will to Read. Maybe you're going to be doing some of the routines off playlist. Maybe you're going to do Cognito. Maybe you're going to do some mind reading with a super Sharpie. Maybe you're going to predict something with random happenings. Whatever it may be, this is a great lead-in, because it's very quick, it's over in a couple of minutes, and it really is a head scratcher. So if you haven't seen it, it's a download, it's available through the vault from all good magic dealers. It came out through the vault, which is Murphy's Magic thing, and I talk about terrible magic downloads on this channel all the time, and there's a lot of terrible magic downloads, but when there's a good one that comes out, I like to shout about it from the rooftop. And The Mystery of the 10 Coins is incredible. So you can get that, and you've got an impromptu miracle that you can do anytime, anywhere. Now, before we wrap this video up, I'm going to give you one more bonus thing that I think people should be talking about when it comes to everyday carry, and that's carry some elastic bands around with you. If you carry some elastic bands around with you, you're good to go with so many different routines. And, you know, I am going to be doing more videos in the future on rubber band magic and some of the best rubber band tricks of all time. But man, carry some rubber bands. You know, I know that there's some people, I have no problem carrying rubber bands on my wrist, but I know there's some people that don't like carrying rubber bands on the wrist. And for those people, that's absolutely fine. That's not a problem. You don't have to have a rubber band on your wrist if you don't want to. You can just throw a couple of rubber bands into your wallet, or just chuck a couple of rubber bands into your pocket, and you're good to go anytime, anywhere. Carry rubber bands around with you and learn some rubber band material, and then you've got some great everyday carry items you can do with just a couple of rubber bands. So there you go, guys. That is the second everyday carry list right here on Magic TV. This is 10 items that you should carry around with you at all times. That means that you're never going to be in a situation where you go, I haven't got anything on me. Let me know what you think of the list. Would you like to see a third video? These take a while to put together, but would you like to see a third video? If you would, let me know and I'll put it together. I am more than happy to do that, because there's a lot more everyday carry items that I can talk about. But let me know what you think in the comments down below. Are there any on this list that you do? And if so, what do you think of them? Are there items that I missed off that really should have been on the list at this point after 2 videos? Let me know in the comments down below. And also, don't forget, if you want to see more videos like this, like the video, subscribe to the channel, leave a comment down below. Now, I'm going to be back tomorrow. I'm going to be back over the weekend with 8 videos. There's 8 videos right here on Magic TV. On Saturday, we've got a honest trailer at 12 o'clock. At 2 o'clock, we've got a short. 6 o'clock, we've got a live. 9 o'clock, we've got an interview. And I'll tell you right now, the interview this week is with Danny Weiser. And then tomorrow, and then on Sunday, we've got the Q&A at 12 o'clock. At 2 o'clock, a shorts. At 6 o'clock, a live. And then at 9 o'clock, a review show special. So there's a lot happening right here on Magic TV. Once again, thank you so much for joining me. Thank you so much for supporting the channel. I will be back again tomorrow. I'll see you again soon. My name's Craig from Magic TV.